Bundy and Pastor Randy and Pastor Miguel. That's what this is. It's a blessing to be here tonight with you. And I always have an issue with Chuck and placement. And I can just say ditto and we can get out of here. How about that? So if you can't be profound, be short. And so, amen. Faith by itself, if it's not accompanied by works, is dead. And yes, faith does work. There's something called a continental divide. You've heard of that before. They also call it the Great Divide. It's that ridge of mountains in North America and Central America that separates a major watershed. Watershed that flows west to the Pacific, north to the Arctic, and southeast to the Gulf. It's a major Great Divide. As a matter of fact, there's some pictures that this divide was picked up from a satellite to this major divide that's there. But I submit to you tonight that there's a bigger divide. And that bigger divide is the gap between Sunday and Monday. It could be considered as the greatest divide. There's not a whole lot of folks that wake up and say, thank God it's Monday. There's not a whole lot of people that come to our churches that say the same thing on Monday as they say on Sunday. I was glad when they said unto me, let's go to work. I would venture to say, and I know y'all get around a lot, that none of you have ever seen a TGIM shirt. Thank God it's Monday. Ain't nobody shouting, can't wait to get to work. There's this separation that exists that we've created between our Christian life and our work life, between our secular life and our spiritual life. That some kind of way there's a separation between what we do and who we are in worship and what we do and who we are in work. That one, maybe 2, sometimes 3 hours of worship on Sunday. Depends on what church you go to. Actually has an impact on the 100+ hours of work we are involved in. And what suffers the most is our purpose and our drive. And we actually miss some powerful moments because we separate Sunday from Monday. The Sunday worship and the Monday work. The actual dread of Monday. It said, Johns Hopkins put out a report that more heart attacks take place 9 o'clock on Monday morning. And how do you close the gap? Well, I have a recommendation. I don't know how far it's going to go, but if you ever hear about it, know that you heard about it here first by me. My suggestion is that we reduce the number of days of the week to 6. Reduce the number of days of the week to 6, the names of the days. And you kind of call Sunday and Monday Smonday. T-shirts will be out later on in the week. Work is not the enemy of our spiritual life. Work actually is the fulfillment of our spiritual life. And James attacks the problem as he talks about faith and works. Throughout the whole book of James, from chapter 1 to chapter 5, that's all James is talking about, how faith works. He says, faith works joyfully. Count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations. He says faith works prayerfully, and faith works productively, and faith works impartially, and faith works wisely, and faith works reasonably, and faith works financially, and faith works prayerfully. And here in chapter 2, verses 14 through 26 talks about this whole faith and this works thing. James reminds us of the value of faith. The value of faith. And I would submit that all of us know how valuable faith is. The Bible says in Romans that without faith it's impossible to please God. We look throughout the scriptures, we're saved by faith, we're blessed by faith, we're healed by faith, we're strengthened by faith, we're lifted by faith. All of these happen by faith. But we are only able to work and to do what we do outside of the four walls of our church by faith. See, you can't compartmentalize God. You can't compartmentalize God. There's not a home God and a work God and a beach God and a fishing God and then a church God. You can't compartmentalize God. A pastor called the home of one of his leaders, and his son answered the phone. He recognized the little boy's voice. He says, "Hey, buddy, how you doing?" He says, "Fine, Pastor." He says, "How's school coming?" He says, "Great, Pastor." He says, "Well, let me talk to your dad." He said, "Which dad?" He says, "Which dad?" He says, "Yeah, do you want to talk to the home dad or you want to talk to the church dad?" Because obviously the young man saw a difference between daddy at home. Y'all catch that on your way home. And daddy at church. No, you can't compartmentalize God. There's not a home God and a work God and a beach God and a fishing God and a church God. He's just God. And he's the same God. And there shouldn't be a gap between Sunday and the rest of the week, because the same God that wakes you up every morning is the same God that walks with you throughout the day. The same God that blesses you on Sunday helps you to bear your burdens on Monday. The same God that lifts your spirits on Sunday is the same God that lightens your load through the course of the week. The same God that helps you on Sunday is the one that can handle any of your hindrances. The same God that anoints you on Sunday helps you deal with the annoyances during the week. He's the same God. And if you value faith, you'll value God. And if you value God, you'll value what God values. Jesus told the disciples who were out fishing for fish, he says, "Follow me, and I'll make you fishers of men." What he was simply saying is that these fishers of fish, if you follow me, I will help you use the skills and talents you have, and you'll have a kingdom expression by using those gifts and talents, not just for the world, but for the kingdom of God. Can I let you in on a secret? Thank you for saying yes. Work came before the curse in Genesis. Most folks think work is a curse. No. Work is the joy of knowing that he created me and he gave me responsibility. And so there's this value of faith. If you take God to work, God can go to work for you. See, that not only is there the value of faith, but there's this validation of faith. It's right here. He says faith without works is dead. The Message Bible says God talk without God action is nonsense. Basically, James is saying this. You talk about all this faith. Show me what you're working with. You've been sitting next to somebody for about 50-some minutes. Just lean over to them. Just show me what you're working with. Show me what y'all are talking to each other. If your neighbor ain't talking to you, find you another neighbor. Come on, ask your neighbor, show me what you're working with. Show me what you're working with. Because faith is validated in my work. There are two kinds of faith. This text helps us to realize. One kind of faith is do nothing faith. The other kind of faith is do something faith. Do nothing faith is disconnected. Do something faith is totally connected. Do nothing faith isolates. Do something faith insulates. Do nothing faith discourages, and do something faith encourages. You know what do nothing faith looks like on a football field? Do nothing faith on a football field looks like a team that's in the huddle that never breaks the huddle. You have the expectation for the team to get in the huddle, but why doesn't the Dallas Cowboys come out of the huddle? I don't understand it. They just stay in the huddle. They never break the huddle. What we need to do, and what James is telling us, is we need to validate our faith by breaking the huddle and doing what this faith he's given us. You got to realize, even with Moses, when God came to Moses in Exodus, the 3rd chapter, God speaks to Moses from this burning bush. It's an amazing sight. God then begins to share with Moses some of the sentiments of his heart. He says, Moses, I've heard their cry. I've seen the affliction of my people. And God says, Moses, I'm coming down. How exciting is that? Breaking this cycle. God's going to show up. And then in verse 10, God says to Moses, and Moses, I'm sending you. Whoa! Lord, it was all right when you heard the cry and you saw the affliction. And I was excited to watch you come down. But what's this talk about you sending? He says, Moses, you go. Moses gave excuses, and God says, Moses, what's in your hand? Because God, even with faith, wants us to do the natural so he can do the supernatural. I feel like preaching tonight. God wants us to do the natural so he can do the supernatural. Jericho wall was major, and it did come down. But it didn't come down until they walked around the wall. They did the natural. God did the supernatural. They ran out of wine at a wedding. Jesus is about to turn water into wine, but then he stops and says, fill the water pots with water. Don't you think he could have called water into the water pots? But he tells them to fill the water pots with water, and I love the text. Mary says, whatever it tells you to do, do it. They had to get involved. They had to do something. It validated their faith, and this is how their faith was validated. Oh, I love this. The text says, and they filled the pots to the brim. They left no space and no room. He said, hey, if you want water, we give you water. And he worked the miracle, but you got to do what he tells you to do. Lazarus, oh my goodness. God, through Christ, is about to call a dead man back to life. They even said he stinks. But before he called him back to life, guess what Jesus said? Roll away the stone. Roll away the stone. And guess what? There were some folks that validated their faith and they rolled away the stone. If you do the natural, God will do the supernatural. I just stopped by here tonight to tell you that worship is not done at the benediction. That's when the work begins. That's when the huddle breaks. 1 Corinthians 15 says, be steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the works of the Lord, for you know your labor is not in vain in the Lord. Yes, faith does works, but you got to work it. You got to work your faith. You got to allow God to work through you to see God work the miracle in your life. Thank you.